Hey, I'm Randy, and you're watching The Cheap Audio Man. Here with The Cheap Audio Man, we talk about high-value, hi-fi, home theater, and headphone products. And today we're talking about the Sivga Phoenix open back headphones. So, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the Sivga Phoenix. The Sivga Phoenix. So Sivga, there we go. Sivga reached out to me and asked me, number one, if I wanted to review the closeback. I think it's the SV021, which I did, and I liked. And then they said, hey, would you like to review the Phoenix as well? I think it's the same driver, but it's tuned a lot differently. This is what it looks like. It's an open back. The headband is made out of metal. It's very light. Almost knocked over my coffee. Oop, hit the camera. I like the construction. The outside is a wire mesh, black wire mesh. Metal yoke here, metal here, metal here. I think that's metal. Yeah, that's metal. It rotates a little bit. Metal band up here, and then feels pretty real, like real leather. A little bit of padding right here. Yeah, nice and soft. And I've got, fits my brain housing unit pretty good. Yeah, so this should accommodate most people's head sizes. Clamp force is fine. They're pretty light, so it doesn't need to clamp super hard. But let's talk about the one thing that I couldn't get over. These are not the original ear pads. These are the original ear pads. Now, let's take a closer look. Let's investigate. The way these ear pads go on, they rotate and then they come off. They are attached permanently to a plastic ring that has some little nubs on it. And then it goes into here. Clicky clickies into place. So when I got these, I put them on. These weren't doing it for me. Why? They're just too shallow. And I do have a tendency for this part of my ear right here. Sometimes we'll touch the inside of a headphone, like you'll touch the driver. And I hate that. I hate it. I don't like it at all. And immediately when I had these on there, I mean, it wasn't like, oh, it was just brushing against. It was like these were on-ear headphones. These felt like Grados, except not as comfortable. These pads, and I'll show you some pictures, they are identical to the shape of these. So these pads are identical to these. Where do these come off of? Well, funny you should ask. The Emotiva GR1 headphone, or whatever headphone Emotiva makes. They only make one. This and the Emotiva are basically the same headphone with a different band. So there's different styling cues with those headphones. The drivers, the cup size, the connection, even the ear pad shape, the ear pad connection, all identical. It is the same headphone except for pads, headband basically. Emotivas are heavier too, which tells me that they use different type of materials in building the Emotiva. Back to the pads. So when I first got them, I tried to listen to them and I just couldn't. It was just shoving in on my ear. I couldn't do it. But when I figured out that they were the same headphones, I took the pads off the Emotiva. The good news is you don't have to go out and buy Emotiva's headphones to take the pads off of there to put them on the Sivgas. Sivga does sell another ear pad, and I looked it up, and it's called Thicken. That's the ear pad for the Phoenix. Thicken. I think what they were going for is thicker, but that's fine. I hope if they're the same size as this, then it's going to be just fine. The rest of this review is me listening to the Phoenix through the Emotiva pads because that's what I needed. I could not listen to them through the stock pads. Now maybe if your ears are really flat and you're younger than 13, these may work for you just fine. I needed these. I don't think my ears are that big either. Yeah. I think I have regular size ears. My head's not that giant either. I just have a regular size head. Let's talk about how they sound. Oh, by the way, my wife made me this cup. She didn't make it personally. She commissioned it to be made. It says, binge, listen, and fill your soul with happiness. And then on the other side it says, Giovanni Man. All right, let's talk about how they sound. I forgot to tell you what the price is. $250 currently on Amazon. If you get the thickened pads, or the bigger pads, those are $16. Grand total, $266. Emotivas are $299. I'm not going to discuss what they sounded like to me out of the box. I will discuss what they sounded like after I put on the other pads. Bass is present. Bass is a little bit on the thick side. Bass is pleasing, not super low, super extended. I have really no complaints about the bass. It did not bleed into vocals or acoustic guitars. It was kind of punchy, kind of fun, separated. The bass line on Denial by Sevendust. Good song if you haven't heard it. There's definite separation on the low end when it came to the instruments. I liked how bass guitars sounded on this. Killing Strangers by Marilyn Manson was punchy. Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys, very punchy, not extended super low. These would not do Narcissistic Cannibal like The Caspian by Apos, however you say it. Mid-range is where, there's some issues to me. The track is For You by Stained. Check it out if you haven't heard it. At the 37-second mark, it got pretty harsh, and it was also sibilant at times. The good thing about these headphones is I felt like they're pretty wide. They did have me turning my head. So I was listening to Amazon Music, and I just had it driving the ship. And it served me up a song called My Name is Human by Highly Suspect, and I really liked it. And it was very, very wide. It, again, turning my head the whole time. With some of the sibilance and some of the harshness, I thought, well, I probably need to change the electronics. Because prior to that, I had the Denafrips Aries 2 DAC going into the Gashelli E2 headphone amp. I switched that over to the Gashelli J2, which has a bit warmer presentation. Not saying it's not detailed, it is very detailed. It's just a warmer presentation. And it knocked a lot of the sharp edges off the Sivgas. I knew there were a few things in this headphone that I liked, and I could tell that maybe the DNA of this headphone was there, because things got a little bit jumbled up, things got a little bit busy, and so I lost some of the instrument separation with busier songs. Metal. Heavy metal. Hard rock, things like that. So I tried out Into the Mystic by Van Morrison, and it was fantastic. It was incredible. The entirety of that song was amazing. One thing I did notice about that is there's some tambourines on that song. Those were almost too hot. They were very present. They weren't too hot, but they almost were too hot. So then I turned on some Mumford & Sons, and it started dawning on me that these headphones like acoustic stuff, singer-songwriter stuff. So Mumford & Sons, Van Morrison, most of the MTV Unplugged, they're not incredibly dynamic. So if there's a ton of stuff going on, highs to lows, stuff like that, not gonna work. If one is into probably jazz, dare I say country, or anything with a lot of acoustic guitars but doesn't have a whole bunch of crazy transients, doesn't have a whole lot going on at the same time, these headphones are quite good. Comparing these directly to the Emotiva, they seem to have similar bass. Again, when I was using the Emotiva ear pads, the Sivgas had a bit more clarity, but with that clarity came a pretty harsh edge, and it could get sibilant, and it could get a little in your face at times. I think the amp and DAC choice on this are going to be very important, because I needed something that was I'm not saying not clear, I needed something that was a bit warmer to knock the edge off. Stock pads are non-starters for me. If you are going to buy this, you need to buy the thickened ear pads, the bigger ear pads. Don't worry, I'll link them in the description. So, Van Morrison, great. MTV Unplugged, great. Mumford & Sons, great. Seven Dust, no. Stained, no. Led Zeppelin, kind of. There's some good Zeppelin songs on here. These are lighter than the Emotivas. If you get the bigger pads, the thickened pads, then they may even be more comfortable than the Emotiva, because the Emotiva is a little bit heavier. So this is kind of a yin and a yang review. I'm not super high on these, but I'm not super low on these. At $250, I start to struggle because I think a $250 headphone should kind of sound good just out of the box. They know that the pads are too small. That's why they have other pads. I wish this did not have the weird connector doohickey thing on the ear cups. Because let's face it, sound is a very subjective thing. Some people, maybe they really like that forward presentation. On headphones, one of the quickest and easiest ways to change the sound is just swap out the pads. That's why I love headphones that have a very traditional attachment method where there's just a lip. And you put the pads on, you go around the lip, and ta-da, you're done. You have a different pad on, and you have a different sound now. With these proprietary things, I wish they didn't have those. And I'm pretty sure whoever made these also made the Emotivas, and they just had an offering of different kinds of pads because they're the same shape. One's just thicker than the other. And I don't even know why this is the shape that it is, because it doesn't do anything sonically for me. I wish it was just bigger and equally thick around it. So, sorry, getting all excited about things. It's good. If you know what you're getting yourself into and you change the pads, it can be good. If you listen to metal, super busy tracks, probably not the headphone for you. If you want something that's not built as nicely, but probably still gonna last as long, look at the HD 560S. If you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night, we have Patreon-only Zooms. We also have a patron-only Facebook group. You can also use the links if you want to buy the Phoenix or buy anything else. Links are in the description. Those are affiliate links. You can also sign up for Amazon Music. Right now, you can get 6 months of Disney Plus for free or 3 months of Amazon Music for free. I think whichever you choose. If you sign up, I get a couple of dollars, even if you cancel. So don't binge watch anything. Binge listen and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.